I got laid off at 54, and last month we lived on $1,566, not estimated exactly. And I'm going to show you every dollar that came in and every penny we spent and the exact choices that made that number possible. And no, we are not living on rice and beans in a tiny apartment. And by the end of this, you're either going to think we're crazy or you're going to steal a few of these ideas. Hi, I'm Carrie, and welcome back to Retired by Accident. Grab your coffee and let's get right into it, because that 1566, it didn't happen by accident. Some of this stuff is simple, some of it took years to set up, and a couple of these might surprise you. Let's start with the biggest one, housing. We own our home, no mortgage, no rent. I spent over a decade working toward that, and I cannot overestimate the peace of mind of not having a housing payment. We have no HOA dues. We are extremely adamant about not owning any home with HOA fees. That is an absolute non-negotiable. But we do still have property taxes because, in truth, you are just renting from the government no matter what. For property taxes, I put $180 every month into a savings account to cover it when it comes due. Jeff is a disabled vet, and as such, he qualifies for an exemption that brings our taxes way down. I've talked about that in a previous video. That exemption makes a really big difference for our numbers. Without it, this number for property taxes would be several $100s higher every single month. All right, homeowners insurance. I put $91 every month again into that sinking fund to cover it when it's due every year. I get questions about why this is so low. And remember, that's divided out monthly. The annual bill is actually 12 times that amount. But it's really just the region we live in. We are apparently in a lower risk area in Washington state. We didn't do anything special except move here. And before we move on, I want to give you just a little more context, because this didn't happen overnight. You might wonder why I care about living cheap, and I do. And it's a good question. For me, this really comes down to security. I spent years as a single woman, and having money set aside basically just let me sleep comfortably at night. I have always been wired this way. I've always felt like if I can do something cheaper myself, that is money earned tax-free. And it's not just about security, though. Living cheap lets us spend on what we actually care about, which for us is time and experiences, not stuff. Okay, so back to how we hit that 1566. Next up, let's talk about transportation. We own a truck and a car. Both are paid for. There are no car payments on either, no lease payments. And that is another huge contributor to be able to live as cheaply as we do. Both of those were purchased used. The truck is a 2014. My car's a 2018. Neither of them are particularly fancy, but the truck is a 4x4 and my car does have all-wheel drive, because the icy hills in winter where we live can be a serious problem. And that having the 4-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive means we can pretty much get out of our neighborhood whenever we need to in the winter. I don't actually run a sinking fund specifically to replace the vehicles. It's just understood that when the time comes, the next vehicle will come out of savings. We do have a toll pass. In February, I added $30 to that account. We have one route that we use that costs a little bit to drive, and that $30 will cover about 2.5 months of typical use on tolls. Our vehicle insurance, I put $121 a month into that savings so that I can pay it in full every 6 months. And that bill was actually due this month. So $593 came for the car insurance came out of that sinking fund. Before you have a heart attack, let me reiterate, that's not our monthly bill. That's the full 6-month policy for both cars. The insurance for the motorcycle and the RV are separate and weren't due this month. I do pay the full policy upfront every 6 months because it's cheaper than paying monthly. And they actually dropped my rate this term, probably because our vehicles are getting some age on them. I don't know for sure, but I'll take it. Okay, let's talk about utilities. This is one of those areas where living rural actually helps us. Mostly. In some ways it hurts us. I actually got a lot of flack on my cost of working video about utilities, so if you saw that one and had questions, I'm going to make that all clear here. For electricity, I paid $167.84 last month. This is actually 2 electricity bills. We have our meter on the house, and we have a separate meter for the well. The guy that we bought the property from had them set up that way, and it's really just annoying because we have to pay 2 monthly minimum fees. But it would cost way too much to change it, so it is what it is. And because we are on a well, we have no water bill. And that's another way that our monthly costs stay low. And I also want to mention that we heat in the winter with firewood. And this is wood that we cut ourselves from trees in our own backyard, so we don't have to buy wood. Beyond the fact that there's literally nothing better than a warm fire on a cold day, and getting that wood is good physical activity, I have actually run the numbers on what it saves us. And it saves us about $105 a month during the winter months compared to what we'd be spending if we had to heat with electricity. And that adds up. Okay, next up. Cell phones. I pay $40 a month for 2 lines. We use Visible Wireless, which is Verizon's prepaid service. We get 0 cell service at our home, literally none. But Verizon has the best coverage everywhere else we spend time, so it works for us. For our internet, we pay $80 a month for Starlink. We have no cable out here, and the DSL is so bad that it's just not really usable at all. Starlink works great, and it doubles as our home phone service via Wi-Fi since we don't have any cell signal at home. Okay, next up, let's talk about food, and we will start with groceries. And in this category, I'm including toiletries, household cleaners, anything else you might buy from a grocery store. For groceries last month, I spent $432 for everything, and which for a lot of people, this is where the whole budget falls apart or works. And just as a reminder, that's for a household of 2 people, Jeff and I. There are a couple of things worth explaining here. We drive over an hour to avoid the small local grocery store, and I generally do the shopping when I have to go into town for something else, like a doctor's appointment, just to save on gas. The prices at the local store are seriously painful. It is a small town, and you know how that goes if you've ever been in a small town grocery store. I also keep a very well-stocked pantry, specifically so that we are never making emergency trips just because we ran out of something. Emergency trips become expensive trips. You go in for salsa and you come out $50 lighter. That's not happening. February included 1 general stocking up run, but no dedicated meat run this month. We actually buy most of our meat at the US Chef store, and we buy in large quantities. Then we bring it home, and Jeff breaks it down into servings for 2 while I vacuum seal it, weigh it, label everything, and stack it in the deep freeze. It's actually practically a date night for us. Last time we were there, sirloin was about $6.50 a pound on a 15 to 20 pound roast. And by the time you factor in the savings versus buying individual steaks at the grocery store, even including the cost of vacuum seal bags, the savings is significant. And no, we do not eat steak every night. It's just the price example that I could actually remember. Other ways we keep the grocery number down, well, I bake bread. We don't buy bread, I just bake it. It's much cheaper than store-bought, and I know exactly what's going into it. I also do a ton of canning. My pre-canned meals are our fast food. When neither of us feels like cooking, I pull a jar of curry chicken or beef stew or something out of the pantry, and dinner is on the table in 10 minutes. No delivery fees, no drive-through lanes, no ingredients you can't pronounce. Past me did the work, and current me opens the jar and say thank you. And every month, that thank you translates into money saved. We also do have chickens that provide eggs, but they cost us in feed too, which I included in the grocery budget along with the dog food. The chickens try to pay their way, but except when egg prices go through the roof, the feed costs tend to outweigh the egg savings. They're keeping other ways. All right, convenience store drinks. We spent $7.73 last month. At least I'm assuming that's what this charge was based on the charges on the credit card. It is what it is. And then eating out is where I lose some credibility, but I'm going to come clean with you. February was not our best month for staying at home for meals. There was 1 trip to Burger King for $12.19. Jeff sometimes likes fast food when he has to make a run into town. I don't love it, but I'm not his mother. We also went to the local Mexican restaurant once. It cost $15.45 for date night. We shared an appetizer and drank just water, and the chips and salsa are free. You don't have to blow the budget to have a nice date. There was 1 stop at Dairy Queen too. This cost $9.38. My husband has a deep and abiding passion for soft serve ice cream, and he was having a rough day. Medicating with ice cream seemed like the appropriate response. Usually I just pass, but this time I joined in with the blizzard. No regrets. Okay, and this next one, this is entirely on me. Panda Express for $23.02. So we were 2 hours into a 4-hour drive, and I had not planned snacks because we're adults and we can absolutely go 4 hours without eating, right? And then we drove through a town with the Panda Express. We do not have one within an hour of home, and I love that sugary, sticky, delicious orange chicken, and I did not stand a chance. It was amazing, and I shouldn't have done it. What can I say? What can I say? Then we had one other dinner at a local restaurant. We spent $49.27. This was for Valentine's Day. We did drinks and everything, and that one was worth every penny. So yeah, February had its indulgences. Our total for eating out this month was $109.31, which for us is actually a lot. This is more than twice as much as a typical month for us. All right, moving on. The next category is really our biggest trade-off for living out in the country, and that is gas. We spent $196.79. We live a long way out, and that's just the reality of being out here. And we knew that going in. This month did include a 400-mile round trip to see my family in the truck because we were delivering furniture to my sister and we needed the truck bed. Truck obviously gets worse mileage than my car, but that was just unavoidable this time. And I was already laid off at this point, so there was no driving for work. This bill would have been much, much higher before the layoff. When we can, we do combine errands. When I had a doctor's appointment in town this month, I donated blood and got groceries in the same trip. There's no point using twice as much gas just to get out of the house on a different day. All right, medical's up next. I spent $17.74 on medication, and that was a 3-month supply. It was the first fill of a new prescription, so this one is probably going to show up every quarter from this point on. Our other medications are covered without copay. I do occasionally have a copay for medical visits, but it's rare and there wasn't one this month. For dental insurance, I paid $32.96. I underquoted this in my other video about cost to work. Sorry about that, but that's the extent of our medical payments. We also do have some monthly subscription costs, and in February that ran $31.51. Those are tools Jeff uses for his hobbies, including a word processor and research stuff. But his hobbies make enough to cover this and then some, so whatever. We do not have Amazon Prime, or Netflix, or any streaming services running right now. YouTube keeps us pretty well entertained, and then of course there are books and nature. I like to go outside. When we do want a streaming service, we subscribe to just one, watch everything we want to see, and then cancel within a month. Most of the time, we go with no streaming services at all. Okay, next up is clothes. I spent $27.84. Some months are lower, some months a little higher. I do buy secondhand whenever I can. Jeff and I have both lost weight over the past year, so we've needed to acquire more clothes than usual. Thrift stores still save me a pretty penny, but if you've been there lately, you know they are not what they used to be. Okay, so let's add up all those expenses. Total spent in February was $2,159.69. But that's not really what we lived on. From the monthly income, we spent $1,566.69 because remember, that $593 car insurance payment came out of the sinking fund, not out of the monthly income. So $1,566.69. Okay, let's talk income. Jeff's VA disability is $4,158, and that is our main source of income since I got laid off. Credit card cashback rewards, we got $33.60. We put everything we possibly can on a cashback rewards card and pay it off every month. I actually pay it off twice a month because I am not risking interest. Pay it off, get the rewards, free money. Jeff's book royalties brought in $38.99, and that's lower than typical, but not by a ton. He self-publishes on Amazon and Kindle, and if you've seen the Side Hustles video, you know the full story there. There was no income from YouTube in February because this channel was not monetized, and I had no Amazon affiliate income in February either. So our total income was $4,230.59. And total spent in February, every dollar that left my world was that $2,159.69. But that number double counts the car insurance because it includes both the money I put into savings for insurance this month and the money I took out of savings to actually pay the 6-month bill. So I'm going to use the amount that our monthly income actually had to cover. That's $1,566.69. So subtracted from income, 4,230.59 minus 1566.69 equals 2663.90 left over. That's what went into savings this month. Some off the top the moment the money arrived, the rest after I saw how the month shook out. Okay, so here's what's not in the budget because I know you're wondering. Medical insurance. Jeff's VA benefits cover both of our medical insurance and his dental with no premium. It's a massive benefit, especially when health insurance is the biggest hurdle after a layoff or an early retirement. My dental is the $32.96 line item that you already saw. So what about sewer? We actually have a septic system. It does need pumping every few years, and there's a cost, but it's not a recurring monthly one. And it's not a big enough expense that I feel like I need to sinking fund it. What about garbage? We actually have no garbage pickup at our location. So we load the trash into the truck and take it to the transfer station every 2 to 3 months, depending on how much waste we've made. That costs $7 each trip. We didn't need a dump run this month. We burn paper products, food scraps go to the dog and the chickens and the compost pile. So that's a very small expense for us. So cable TV, there is literally no cable out here. And even if there was, I wouldn't. Okay, one honest footnote. I manage 100% of our finances, but I can't tell you whether Jeff spent any cash on hand that I don't know about. He did not pull any cash from accounts, so if there was anything, it was incidental. Probably soft-serve ice cream. I'm not his mother. I don't track that. So there could be a small amount of cash spending unaccounted for here, just being honest with you. So that is it. That is our life. We live pretty cheaply, and we've worked to set up our life this way. This did not happen overnight. Getting out of debt, including the house, was the biggest single contributor. The firewood we cut ourselves, the meat we buy in bulk and break down together, the canning that means an easy dinner is always on hand, the pantry that means I never have to make an expensive emergency run to the local store. None of this is complicated. It's really just a matter of choices repeated over time that add up to a life that costs less. If this is helpful, if seeing the real numbers in a real life makes this feel less abstract, drop a comment and let me know. Tell me what part of your budget feels the hardest to control right now. I read every single one. Hit the like if this was useful, subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to keep following along. Thanks for being here today, and now I'm going to go make a loaf of bread. Take care.